Hi guys, it's Lynn here. Hope you're all keeping really well. Now today I'm going to be repotting two of my Selenicereus testudo cacti, also called Stropho cactus as well. That's right, Stropho cactus, I've had to write that down. Yeah, I always know it's Selenicereus testudo, but it's sometimes called Stropho cactus as well. And I have two different examples to show you that I'm going to be potting on here. This is one that we got as a cut-in a few years ago now. It was about that size, and the guy who gave it to us from the Dublin Cactus and Succulent Society got it from his big mature plant, and it's got a lovely big wide stem there, and as you can see it's grown a lot. This is all the new growth coming on the top. And then we have another one here that we've had for a couple of years ago that we got from Cactus in Germany, and this is also growing really well for us as well. As I say, the stems are more slimmer because it's more of a younger plant, but as it grows and matures, it gets wider like this. And this is actually grows in its natural habitats in southern Mexico and Guatemala, and it's actually a cactus that actually grows up along all the trees and everything, and it actually grows sort of wrapped around when it grows like this when it's young, and then as it gets old, I'll just show you this older one here, get my hands free. It goes like this, and then this wraps itself around the trees, so it's quite wacky, and it's a lovely cactus. I'm going to talk to you a little bit, I'm going to repot these, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about their care as well. But before I go any further, I want to give a very special thank you to my wonderful fiance Hans, who is behind the camera filming me today, so I've got my hands free. And if you're not familiar with Hans' amazing YouTube channel, Family of Cactus and the Beauties, do go over and subscribe to him and support, links up above. And don't forget to subscribe to me too. So here we go, this Selenicereus testudo, also called the Stropho cactus. Also, it's a bit of a tongue twister, I have to admit, guys. Talk to you a little bit about its care now. Now, as I say, this is an epiphytic cactus, and it is found in southern Mexico. I wrote down a load of notes here, guys, otherwise I just forget things. Found in southern Mexico and Guatemala, and as I say, grows wrapped around the trees. Now, this type of cactus, although it can take full sun, it does like to have more shade. So it's more indirect sun or part sun. So if you have it in a sunny window, it can take a bit of sun for a few hours a day, but avoid all day direct sunshine. As I say, it would grow more in shade in its natural habitats, wrapped around trees that would give it more shelter. So it likes sort of indirect sun, or sunshine for just a few hours a day, not all day sunshine. And like a lot of all epiphytic cacti, they love plenty of ventilation as well. Now, with the soil, it likes a very well draining soil mix, but as I say, this is an epiphytic cactus, and it likes typical sort of epiphytic cactus soil. And we made our own mix up here, which we have used with it 30% peat mixed with 10% sand, 40% loam and 20% perlite. And we use a lot more sort of peat than we normally would with our desert type of cacti. With the desert cacti, we'd use more of the loam and the grit and lava rock and pumice. But with the epiphytic, they like to be kept more moist. As I say, they grow in their natural habitats with a lot more humus and things like that growing from the trees. So they like to be kept more moist and a lot more humidity than the desert type of cacti do. As I say, these are tropical cacti, so they need warm temperatures. I wouldn't recommend keeping this below 10 Celsius, which is about 50 degrees Fahrenheit in the winter time. They can take sort of plenty of sun, plenty of heat as well, as long as plenty of fresh air and ventilation can be given. If you've got these in a greenhouse or behind glass, as I said earlier about the sunshine, lots of ventilation must be given there. But other than that, they can take heat normally, but with the winter time, do keep above 10°C, 50 degree Fahrenheit. Otherwise, they can be rot prone, and also they can get scarring and damage to them. Now, these are sort of classed as under the category of the sort of queen of the night cacti. A lot of different types of cacti that come under that, but what that means is they usually have one lovely, or quite a few lovely big magnificent flowers that only last for one night. Lovely white, heavily scented flowers that are pollinated by bats and moths in their natural habitats. So it's a one-nighter. This will probably have to grow quite large before it will flower for us. As I say, both of these are quite young plants, so it's going to be good to see what they're like hopefully one day in the future when they flower. And when it comes to fertilizing, from spring and summer, we would give this fertilizer with a bit of cactus and succulent fertilizer, or a bit of tomato fertilizer used at half strength with a tomato feed. That's because it does encourage blooming. Even though these are young plants, it's still, you never know, might encourage blooming. And the tomato feed is great as well. We use it on a lot of our cacti and succulents. And if you want to know why we use tomato fertilizer on our cacti and succulents, then links up above to a video I've made on why I like to use tomato feed with our cacti and succulents. But any good quality cactus and succulent fertilizer will be good every sort of, rather than saying just once a month or twice a month, it depends how often you water. I'd recommend sort of every 3rd to 4th watering at least during the spring and summer. And when it comes to the watering, well, as I say, these are epiphytic cacti, so they don't like to be kept dry for long periods like the desert type of cacti do. From spring and summer, we would water these and then let the soil dry out in the pot before we water again. In the winter time, we do keep them mostly dry, but we will probably give a bit of water maybe about once a month, because as I say, these are more epiphytes and they will sort of dry up quite quicker. They're not different totally to desert type of cacti, but they don't like as much, I personally find in my experience, as much watering as epiphyllums would, even though they're similar. So that's just a little bit on the watering there. So I think I've sort of covered everything. As I say, when it comes to pests, the typical what cacti circles always get mealybug and things like that, and spider mite. We like to use neem oil as a prevention and a treatment as well, should that happen. These type of Selenicereus types, they're a bit like Hylocereus, the dragon fruits. They're very prone to mealybug. So with using neem oil regularly throughout the spring and summer especially does help to prevent that. And I've made many videos on why we use neem oil and how it is great for preventing spider mite and mealybug. So links up above to a video if you want to know all about that, up above. And I have also made a video on how to care for epiphytic cacti. I know I'm doing a care video in here, but go into a lot more detail in that video as well. I say epiphytic cacti covers a whole range of jungle cacti, and they do differ slightly in their things like their water requirements and other things as well. But basically they are more, they do like higher temperatures, more humidity and more regular watering. So there we go, and now enough of that waffle. I'm going to get repotting, so I'm going to do this one first. And as I say, I've made many videos on how to repot a cactus, and the reason why I'm not wearing gloves, people always ask me why, is because I've repotted cacti for so long now that I think my hands are just used to it. I don't mind getting pricked, excuse the pun. But if this was a very heavily spiny cactus, or it was very heavily glochid, like the prickly pears for example, I'd wrap my hands probably in a couple of sheets of newspaper and probably a bit of cardboard, turn it on its side and handle it that way. But if you want to know how to repot a cactus, then do check out many videos I've made, and I'll link a video at the end as well on how to repot a cactus. There we go, gently squeezing it out. This is easy to hold without getting stabbed anyway. There we go there. And what I like to do is always check the root system over when I'm repotting. Check there's no signs of root mealybugs and vine weevils and other type of pests. Gently loosening the soil. I'm using a similar-ish soil to what I had last time on here. I think this one I used more sand with it, but it's better with a more epiphytic mix, as I've explained earlier. Don't need to disturb it too much because it's got a great root system there. I always just like to loosen up the soil slightly so it's going to acclimatise better to the new pot and soil. And there we go on there. Probably put about an inch of the new soil in there. Lifting it in and then putting it all in. And as I say, I like to use more peat with epiphytic type of cacti. I mean, some people would even use orchid bark and things like that with epiphytes. But this particular one, that's Selenicereus, I find it prefers more of sort of a loam with a bit of peat as well. And that's that here. And then gently press down. You want to make sure all that soil has gone all down the sides. Han's doing a great job there filming. And what I like to do when I repot cacti, I like to leave them for a few days before I water again. I prefer to repot in the spring and the summer, preferably spring, unless it's an emergency. But it's easier for them when they're coming into their growing period, like now in the spring, for them to settle into their new pots when they've been repotted. There we go, so that's that done there. A little bit more on. And as I say, I've made video on how to care for epiphytic cacti as well. And that's that one done. Just gently press down. But because this is more tropical, obviously more epiphytic, I won't be leaving it too long before I water this. I'll probably go 5 days rather than a week, because I haven't disturbed the roots too much and they don't like to be kept too long for dry in the spring and summer. So that's the first one done. And then the other one here. Again, very easy. So here we go, gently squeeze the pot to get it out. And again, same thing again. Check over that root system, no signs of pests or anything like that. Again, it's got a good root system there. I just want to very gently, what I do here, in this case, is just use a little thinner. I've got it here. Yeah, there it is. To just gently tease the roots. I always prefer the less I have to handle the roots, the better, because the less damage. But I do like to just gently loosen up the very bottom here, just because it helps it acclimatise to the new soil. I'm using a blunt end there rather than a sharp object, so I shouldn't have to damage the roots at all. And as I mentioned with the other one I've just repotted, I like to leave it a few days after I've potted it before I water again, because these are more tropical and epiphytic. I don't want to leave it too long, but about 5 days. There we go, that's okay with that, I think. And here, already got getting an inch in there. Pot it on, and easy enough. Again. It's good I've got Hansi there tidying up after me. It's great. It's so good that he's filming, because I got my hands free. I've filmed videos repotting in the past and it's been so difficult, so that's great. And what I've been doing is sharing a lot of repotting videos lately, and while I do, I just talk a little bit about their care, because you know, there's so many different types of cactus plants, and a lot of people don't realise epiphytic ones such as this one, quite different care requirements entirely to desert type of cacti. So some of the epiphytic, such as these ones here, the testudo, does look very much like normal type of deserty type cactus, but believe me, it's not. So, and that's it, just tap it in again, very gently pressing down here. Don't want to press too hard down, just enough so it's settled into its lovely new pot. There we go. And also say Selenicereus testudo, also known as D. Mia, as well as Stropho cactus as well. There's a few different names, but I always notice Selenicereus. So the names are always changing all the time. Oops. So there we go. 2 happy Selenicereus testudos. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you want to know a little bit more on how to grow cacti succulents, including the epiphytic cacti, please do check out my website, desertplantsofavalon.com. And I want to send you loads of love, heaps of happiness, and tons of cactus power from across the Emerald Isle. And until my next video, bye. Bye. Bye.